Well, hello there. Oh, my countdown video stopped and I wasn't even paying attention. Oh, hey, we're live, everyone. Now, are you like most of my clients and you've had successful weight loss diets in the past? You've lost a lot of pounds, but for some reason, you always gain it back and even more. Do you wonder what's wrong with you? Like, do you feel like it's your fault? Would you like to learn best strategies for avoiding regaining the weight? Well, then, this episode is you. Stay tuned. Today, I'm sharing the tricks our body plays on us to get us to regain the weight. It's not your fault. How we are designed to regain even more, and the 3 things you need in order to overcome this yo yo dieting cycle. Welcome, everyone, to Keto Chat Live. I'm your host, Carole Freeman. I have a master's degree in nutrition and clinical health psychology. I'm also a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a board certified ketogenic nutrition specialist. I specialize in helping women 40 plus follow a keto diet for sustainable health and weight loss. Medical disclaimer, this show is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not meant as medical advice nor intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any condition. If you have any questions or concerns about your specific medical condition, advice for yourself, please seek out the care of an integrative healthcare professional to get the support that you need. So, different studio look here today. It's Phoenix, Arizona, if you don't know where I live currently. And it's a rare, cloudy, rainy day that looks like we're actually going to get the monsoons. It's supposed to be raining all week. And this is actually no lights. This is 100% natural light. It's actually cooled off enough I could open the shades in the window, but it's making me look so washed out. Like it's really weird that it looks like I have 14 bright lights on me, but seriously, it's just I played with the lighting a little bit, but there's not much I could do except close the curtains and sit in the dark in here. So anyways, rain coming to Phoenix, and the locals love it. I mean, we need the rain. That's what keeps the ecosystem going. But I moved from Seattle for a reason, so I can't say I'm not a little disappointed. But all right, so interactive show, please join me here. I've got a question for you. How many times have you told yourself this? If I lose the weight, I'm going to be motivated, and that's all that I need to be able to keep the weight off. I mean, maybe it didn't work last time, but this time, if I lose the weight, that's what is going to motivate me, and then I'm going to keep it off. Raise your hand. Give me a Y in the comments, or a thumbs up, or a sad face, whatever feels appropriate for you, that you've told yourself that lie in the past. And I'm here to help you kind of dismantle that a little bit today about that's not what keeps the weight off. And so just personal check-in. I already talked about how we're getting rain here. How exciting. Also, I've got a lot of comedy shows coming up in the next few months. Really excited about that. And Arizona, Oregon, and Washington. And so in August and September, I'm going to be up in the Northwest Oregon, Washington area. So if you're interested in checking out my comedy, follow me on social media. So you can find me Keto Carole on Instagram and or Facebook, and I post my show dates there. So that's probably the best way to find them. So next, I'm going to share a little client success story spotlight. I'm so proud of my clients. So I've got a new one that just graduated my fast track program, and she's staying on to get the long-term support she needs, which is a lot of what I'm going to talk about in the show today. So I thought it was really appropriate that I share. So I'm just going to call her B for her privacy. But B's story is that, she was somebody who was always, curvy, maybe a little chubby as a teen, but like a lot of us looking back at photos, realizes, well, maybe I wasn't as overweight as I thought I was. But how many of you can also identify with that? As a teen, you thought you were overweight, needed to lose weight, but then you look back now and you're like, oh, if I only knew. And so tried a lot of different diets, of course, like all my clients, and started keto on her own, which again is very similar to a lot of my clients, and had some results, but just seemed like things could be better. And then I got to a point where it just didn't really seem to work anymore. And confusing about, am I doing total carbs? Should I be doing intermittent fasting? Is this the healthiest way to do this? And so she reached out for my help. And So after just 7 weeks, amazing results, but also very common for my clients as well who follow the plan and structure and support that I've got. So, B was also somebody that had struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome for like a decade, and a lot of people are given that diagnosis, and they're not really given a lot of options of how to change that, and they just kind of have to feel like that's just part of life and there's not much you can do but just get used to taking a lot of naps. And so just within 7 weeks, B's chronic fatigue was pretty much gone. She no longer needed naps in the afternoon. She had tons of energy and just kind of a new lease on life. When you think that you just have to get used to being tired all the time, and then you get the gift of energy, oh my gosh, just a brand new life. So glowing skin, deeper sleep, being able to sleep longer. And so B was somebody that was a light sleeper, and she just thought maybe that was just who she was, part of her constitution. But it turns out that was just an indication that her metabolic health was just not as good as it could be. And so achieving deeper sleep, she's no longer waking up to every little noise at night. And she lost a total of 12 pounds total on her keto journey, and free of all gas and bloating. So all of her digestive issues just completely went away. And she just feels and looks so much better in her clothes, and no longer mindless eating. So a lot of the focus I have is on, the psychology as well as the nutrition of keto. And the things that I teach my clients end up getting rid of the food obsession, the cravings. And so she said she was just free of mindless eating. And one of her goals in working with me is that she wanted to move to a place where food was just a fuel and it wasn't entertainment, and it wasn't something she did because she was bored or just obsessed with food. And she says she's no longer filling the void with food. So any gaps in life or time or mental thoughts, it's no longer food that she turns to for those things. Completely free of all cravings. And she said that health was her first thing that she was going after, and she certainly got everything on her list that she was hoping that would get better. And again, I mentioned that she stayed on for long term. So she did my initial comprehensive program, and then stayed on to stay a member of our community for that long-term support. So yay, give it up for B. I'm going to give the clappy hands here. Excellent. All right. Today's topic, yo-yo dieting. All right. Why does this happen to us? Why can we try any number of diets and lose weight? And I'm sure everyone here, so if you want to enter in the comments, what was the diet that you thought like, oh, this is it? I lost so much weight. And here's what I hear people say. And I've been doing this work with my clients 6.5, almost 7 years. And I've interviewed every one of them personally. At least an hour I spend with people before we decide to work together. And I've heard all the stories of all the diets, right? They're all the diets, hundreds and hundreds of them. And this story is really common, that people will say like, oh, the XYZ diet, that worked really well for me because I lost 30 pounds. I lost 4 million pounds in 3 days. So there's this fantasy that we have that we measure the success of a diet based on how much we lost during the short time we were on the diet. And then we make a break, and after we stop the diet, we gain the weight back. And I'm going to talk about why that is here shortly. But I want to change your mind today and help you realize that the diet, whether the diet worked or not, includes the time after the diet. Okay? There's a million ways to lose weight. The most important thing is keeping it off, right? Being able to change your habits, change your diet to something that is sustainable, something that you are willing to commit to indefinitely. And so I want you to now realize that all those diets that you thought worked, it wasn't you that failed. It was the diet that failed you, because the diet that really works, the dietary change, so diet just means what you eat. The diet that works is one that includes all of the after as well for the rest of your life, Okay. So those diets didn't work. I want you to realize I'm soapboxing it today, or I'm going to be standing on I don't know if this is soapboxing. I don't know. I'm taking a stand here. This is something I believe really, really strongly. And I want you to come along with my thought process here, is that diet failed you. If it didn't help you stick with it indefinitely, if it was something that was so crazy and unsustainable just the way that it was, 500 calories a day, or you only eat grapefruit and snow cones, I don't know. Everybody's got to make up a new diet every year. If the diet is foods that are not nourishing, so if they're foods, products that you get from the diet where they have to have a bunch of vitamins and minerals added to them because there's no nutrients in them naturally, if there's stuff that's so tasty or so limiting calorie wise, there's any number of things. Poor nutrients, you're not getting your nutrient needs as a human. All those things, those are never meant to be sustainable. So I want you to toss all of those out. Toss them out. I want to support women, men that are so wise. They're wise enough to know that the only thing that's really going to work is something that I can do now, and I can see that I could potentially live this way for the rest of my life with the right support. That's what is a diet that works. That's what works. All right. Are you following here with the idea that so many people are like, oh, that diet worked really well. But I want you to know that the diet needs to encompass from the day you start it for the rest of your life. That is the diet you're looking for. And you have to stop lying to yourself that diet worked, because it didn't. It failed you. All right. So that's part of the problem of why we think that diets work and we yo-yo and gain it back, is because we're doing something unsustainable. Then we go back to our old eating habits, regain the weight. Then we look for a next diet, and it's the yo-yo. Okay. And all right, I have a bunch of notes here, so I want to make sure I'm covering all the points. All right. So the only diet that actually works is the one that helps you sustain it. And I know we want the fantasy. We see I lost 4 million pounds in 2 days. We got to let go of that fantasy. Now, my clients lose weight really, really quickly, but we got to realize that we're not going after the thing that gives us the hope of losing the weight the fastest. You want to go after the approach that helps you lose weight as rapidly as possible and also sets the stage for long-term sustainable dietary change. So, time to reframe your dietary expectations and stop blaming yourself. Well, I mean, if you keep living the fantasy that all you need is some magical diet that's going to take the weight off and motivate you, that'll motivate you to stay with it. Okay, then it is your fault. I'm sorry. Okay, you can stop blaming yourself, though, if you start to move to this place of realizing that you need to look for something that gives you everything you need. So why does this happen, though? Okay, so let's talk about those diets that you do start with the intention that you want to stick with it. Let's talk about why it is so common that you start to gain the weight back, even with the best of intentions, even when you feel like you're doing everything right. And then I'm going to give you the 3 things you need in order to make that change, to be able to lose the weight and keep it off. All right. So why does it happen? I've got bad news for you. Our bodies actually work against us. Our bodies are wired. Those of us that struggle with weight, our bodies are wired to try to regain weight. They want to. It's bad news. I know. I mean, most of human existence on this planet, food is really scarce. And so those of us that are alive today have descended from people that were able to survive when food was scarce, because when food was plentiful, we could eat it and store fat and then make it through the times when there was food scarcity. And so most of us that are alive now have descended from people that have that as a talent. So your body's really talented. You should appreciate how talented your body is. And typically the pattern, and this is validated by research, Kevin Hall's research that he came out with following the people that did The Biggest Loser, and also a lot of people that I've talked to have the same pattern, right? Is that first people wonder, some reason about 6 months, we lose weight rapidly in the beginning, then about 6 months, things start to level off. And so this is, again, a dietary change that you've been able to maintain for that period of time. And the weight loss stalls we think we're doing everything exactly the same. And then guess what? The scale starts to go up. That's when you get really frustrated. So a lot of times when the plateau hits is when most people get frustrated and give up. Why am I doing this? It's not even worth it. And if that didn't do it for you, then as soon as the scale starts to go up, that usually does it for people. Wow, it's not even worth it. Even though I lost 60 pounds, what's it worth sticking with this for? So there's a lot of different factors that go into why that is. Okay, so what's going on? Why does the weight loss stall at about 6 months? And some people it happens even sooner. So one of the things that contributes to this is metabolic slowing. As you lose weight, your body burns less calories. Additionally, most people who are doing weight loss diets, and even a lot of people that are doing keto the wrong way, are eating too little protein. And when you eat less and less and less protein, you're losing lean mass in your body and your metabolism is going to slow down. So if you're eating the same stuff that you have been, you're going to start to gain weight. Also, if that wasn't bad enough, your appetite will actually increase as well. Because again, your body doesn't want to lose weight forever. And so you lose weight and that happens long enough, your metabolism slows, your appetite increases. Usually it's a gradual thing that happens. We think we're eating the same portion size. We would swear I'm not eating anything different. But often, if we were honest with ourselves, if we weighed and tracked and measured everything, there's a little bit of a calorie increase there. Maybe you started snacking a little bit more. Maybe you started snacking in general. Maybe you've added more recipes in. Maybe you've added some nuts and seeds. Maybe you have added more alcohol calories and so on and so forth. So we think we're eating exactly the same, but when you couple the increased appetite that's trying to get you to eat a little bit more and the slowed metabolism, that's two factors that go into regaining weight, stopping weight loss, but also regaining weight. Also, we live in an obesogenic environment. Let's face the facts, folks. Almost all the foods, and even most of the keto products are on the market, they're actually designed to make us overeat, to crave them, to be obsessed with them. How easy is it to keep weight off if you're constantly food obsessed, craving, and overeating them? It's really hard. Also, it's so convenient. I mean, you can just pick up your phone. You don't even have to leave your chair or your couch to get food delivered to your house now. I mean, it's really expensive, but it's so easy to get food delivered. You can get groceries delivered. You can get any fast food restaurant delivered almost any time of the day. And so we don't have to do any exercise. We don't have to put any energy out in order to get food or sustenance for ourselves. And there's so many other factors, right, that go into the fact that our whole environment is designed to make us overweight or promotes obesity. And also that carb monster in our brain. Now, a lot of what I teach, if you're a frequent podcast listener here, you'll know that I talk a lot about the things that make us crave and obsess with food. And so I teach my clients what those are. We eliminate those in the beginning, and that's what gets rid of the cravings. But as you go along, you often start to experiment with those things. And if you don't do it intentionally or slowly enough, you can turn that carb monster on back in your brain that's food obsessed and is talking you into eating food. So it's always there. So it's never going to go away. But as you get to that 6 month mark, and for a lot of people, it happens even before 6 months, and where the carb monster just starts to bargain with you and tell you things like, well, you've been so good, you should have one. Like, a little bite won't hurt. You deserve a treat. You've been so good for so long. I mean, so-and-so's eating that. They got that on their Instagram. I can have one too. I can have just a couple. The carb monster lies to you. It wants you to get back on the carbs. And also, another thing that happens that I've seen too about that 6 month part is that anytime we start a new dietary approach where it's all new, it's novel, we haven't figured out how to make really super tasty foods yet, or we haven't got really into recipes or anything like that. In the beginning, it's more limited. It's novel. We aren't as familiar with it. And so almost any dietary change you make initially will result in weight loss. And as you get more comfortable with it, as you start to learn recipes that fit within your parameters and your rules of your dietary intervention, your diet, you will start to develop ways of eating that are more palatable. So you maybe add more variety. You add recipes, you add desserts, and these are all things that are going to trigger more eating. So as you get more comfortable with any dietary change, you will start to eat more. And another reason that people will lose weight for a while and then regain it is that through stress or emotional eating. Now, this is really common, especially the last couple of years in this world. A lot of us know that food is really, really effective at helping us cope with stress, helping us numb out, avoid, or dissociate from overwhelming feelings of either good or bad. And when you go through a period of time like that, you're going to revert back to food as your coping mechanism when you have no other skills available. And so when people have no other skills, when they haven't taken the time to learn and develop alternate skills for coping, dealing with, handling stress and overwhelming emotions and feelings, then they turn to the food that turns the carb monster back on, and then they start to regain the weight. And this, let's face it, folks, life, even though when we think like, oh, we got it all together, everything's going to be fine now, knocking on wood, there's life is ups and downs. There are going to be stressful periods. There are going to be lows. There are going to be highs. And it's just life. And so these are skills that we need to develop. So that's another reason why people fall off the wagon, or why people will regain the weight after they've had successful weight loss tips. And the other one that I said a lot in the beginning of this was just the fact that the lie of a diet being this temporary thing, that will fix everything, that we just follow this restrictive protocol for a while. We don't have to worry about doing it forever. We don't have to change everything. We can just do this little crazy little thing for a short period of time, and that fixes everything. Okay, so the lie of the diet is the fix, whereas the truth is we need a long-term dietary change. That's the real fix. All right, those are my top reasons why. Okay, so oh my gosh, are you feeling depressed now? Do you feel like, oh my gosh, it's hopeless? What am I going to do? It's not. This is what I specialize in helping with. And so I'm here with the 3 things you need. So this is research-based. This is what, when they look at across all dietary change. And again, the big thing is finding something that works for you. Not everybody needs to follow keto or low carb. There's a million ways to lose weight. But again, the litmus test I want you to look at is like, is this something that I can see myself doing indefinitely? Because that is the commitment you need to make. And so when they look across all diet interventions, again, things that people are following to lose weight, those are able to keep the weight off. 3 things in common. And I just remembered one note I had to add in here for myself. And okay, so the first one that they found that is essential, and this is actually what I teach my long-term clients. This is the support that I give my clients in order to stick with a long-term dietary change of low carb keto. And so number 1 is frequent measures of success. So not only your body weight, but body measurements, food logging as well. Now, I'm not saying you have to log your food forever, but when your measurements start to show you that something's a little off, that's the scale's going up, your waist has increased. That's time to get back on track with doing a little double checking with some food logging. That often can be just the little tiny bit of thing that gets things back to where they should be. Okay. So frequent measures, your body weight, your physical measurements of your body. And also I want to see regular labs from my clients as well, because that can show us when things, maybe they're thinking everything's fine, I'm doing everything fine. Maybe their weight is even the same. But if they kind of been like eating things more often than not that are not the healthiest for them, that's going to start to show up in their lab markers. And so that's why I want to see those, depending on what we've seen in the labs last. A lot of my clients, I'm seeing something every 6 months, but depending on if something's askew, we may be doing it more frequently than that. And so you need those measures of success. So for one, those are going to be much more motivating when you see that you're maintaining that success, but also it helps you see a small change that indicates that things are going awry, and it's easier to make small little tweaks to get back on track than it is to turn the whole ship around. And so again, these are the 3 things that research shows that people that succeed in long-term weight loss that they have in place. Okay, so multiple measures of success and frequently doing those. Don't wait until you've gained 20 pounds back to go, oh, I guess I should step on the scale. Okay, so number one, frequent measurements. Number two is they get ongoing education. And there's a lot of reasons why this works or why it's important. And so you get immersed in the topic, you're staying relevant, and you're kind of brainwashing yourself into like, okay, this is the dietary intervention that I follow. I do this. I'm, vegan people, they're reading about vegan stuff. They're going to vegan restaurants. Keto people, immerse yourself in the topic. Learn as much as you can about it. But also, again, this is what I bring to my clients for their long-term success as well, is that I'm doing a monthly new training on anything from nutrition to diet, psychology, all the different things that they need in order to be successful. Another topics of ongoing education is learning new skills and techniques. And again, things like dealing with emotions and stress. Other people need a lot of help with negative thought patterns. They may get stuck in like always focusing on the negative, and that can hinder your success and long-term sustainability as well. So there can be some changes and shifts there. Just some examples of new things that can be things that you're going to learn. And also you want to understand. So part of the ongoing education is just understanding how your brain is working against you, how your body is working against you to try to regain the weight, try to talk you into eating more, trying to get you food obsessed again. So that's number two of the three things I found of the research finds that people need for long-term success. And notice how none of this is lose the weight and that will maintain you. That doesn't work. Okay, so number three, again, this is universal across all dietary interventions. What do people need to lose weight and keep it off? Number three is weekly meetings, weekly support, at least weekly. Could be more than that, but weekly. And it's not even that bright out. It's like very cloudy. All right. So weekly support. Why is this important? Why is this necessary? Probably everyone here has been to something where you've got to go to a weekly meeting, right? And you're like, oh, this isn't helpful. Well, I promise you, my meetings are very different, very motivational. But that's a whole other thing. So, but the reason this is important, and if you resist this, and this is often something that people are missing as well, like they do the diet on their own, maybe they get somebody, a friend or family member to do it with them for a while, but soon that person gives up and then they've got nobody else doing it with them. And it's nearly impossible to stick with any dietary change that no one else in your family's doing or friend circle at all. Like it's hard to be a lonely island and do something all by yourself. And so the reasons for that is that, belonging to a successful group of people that are doing what you're doing promotes you doing that as well. When we feel like an oddball and we're the only one in the whole world doing something, like humans are designed to copy the behavior of the people that are around them. They're designed to thrive and live a long time when they have a group of people that are their close-knit friends, family, cohort that are all doing something, right? So imagine living back in caveman times and people started running away from a saber-toothed tiger, but then there was a lone, I'm going to do my own thing, Joe, who was like, I'm not running from the tiger. I'm going to run towards the tiger. Okay, Joe died, right? Joe died. But all the people that copied the behavior of everyone else, they escaped. I just saw, okay, so again, the monsoons are hitting right now in Phoenix, Arizona, and I just saw a flock of birds all fly together into a palm tree here. So the winds are blowing really hard right now outside. I got the shades open and just debris of palm trees and tumbleweeds and everything is blowing down the streets. If you've never been to a storm in the Southwest, oh my gosh, it's something else. So everything's blowing and everything's taking shelter right now. And I just saw this flock of birds all fly into a palm tree together. Guess what? They're probably going to live through the storm because they copied the behavior. They saw one fly and the other one copied that. And they all were like, hey, I'm like that bird. I'm going to go be safe and be in there. So this is a secret weapon to your success. So many of us resist. I'm somebody who's like, I'm not a group follower. I don't need anybody. But you're going to be so much more successful if you find a group of people that you copy and that you all hang out together and you support each other. Okay. So be like the birds in a monsoon storm in the Southwest and stick together for your safety and success. And so more depth on this, the psychological aspect of this is that we have mirror neurons. All animals have these. And no matter what, you don't even have to be the same species of animal, but when you hang out with other animals, you copy their behavior. Okay, so if anybody has a baby in their life, a newer baby, grandbaby, your own baby, random baby you can interact with, there's a fun little thing you can do to them when they're very young and they aren't even talking yet, is that just start sticking your tongue out at them slowly and repeatedly. So, and just do that, and soon the baby who can't even sit up, it can't even move its arms or anything like that, the baby will copy your behavior. I dare you, somebody find babies and report back about this. It's a really fun little party trick if you have babies at your parties. And so this is the mirror neurons of all animals, is that whatever we see, we copy. It's not a choice, right? That baby didn't go, that looks cool, I'm going to try to stick my tongue out. The baby has no awareness of what it's doing. That's just how we're wired. And it's how we actually learn to survive, be healthy, and we're designed to connect and copy the behaviors of people we see. And this also happens if you've ever been, let's say you're at a Mexican restaurant and somebody's got chips for the table, and you've been doing really well on keto for a while. And I'm like, I'm not going to have any chips. I don't want any chips. And then all of a sudden, like, you just notice that your arm is going towards the bowl of chips. Everybody else is having some, and you notice your arm is going toward it. Maybe you even have like one close to your mouth and you just wake up and you're like, what am I doing? Why did I even grab for that? I didn't even want that. That's mirror neuron activation as well. And this happens in food advertisements, right? Did you know that food manufacturers, they know about this? That's why they put people in ads eating the food or drinking the thing they want you to crave. And so have you ever noticed that you're doing fine and all of a sudden on TV comes a commercial? I mean, well, do I have TV anymore? Hulu ad or maybe a YouTube ad or something like that, and there's a food ad, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I can't stop thinking about that thing, especially if you saw somebody eating that. So you need to offset that, right? So this is why the weekly meetings are so important, why they're so powerful. I tell my clients it's a way of recharging your willpower battery at a subconscious level. And so when you're doing great, hang out with the other people so you can help recharge their battery for them. But also it recharges yours. Keep that battery topped up. We don't need to have a low running battery when we're going out there in the rest of the world. So come, get involved in a group weekly meeting. You got to see the people. And even when you're struggling, if you're like, I can't even think of the next little step to take. Well, guess what? If you just go and hang out with those people that are successful, you'll get your battery recharged as well. And you can start going back to maintaining those habits that you really want. And also, there's so many other valuable reasons why that weekly support is important. And again, if you're just joining, I'm going over the 3 things that research shows that people need to have in place in order to keep the weight off that they've lost. So in order to sustain their dietary change. And so we're talking about the 3rd one right now, weekly support. And I've covered a lot of reasons why, but there's more. So one is brainstorming, troubleshooting issues. And another one is continuing motivation. So when you're gathering with people that have had success, that's motivating. I send out a weekly newsletter and there's several different categories on it. And the category that always gets the most clicks is the success stories. And it's motivating to hear how well other people are doing. It also gives you that accountability, right? You've got to show up and you've got to face these people that you've built a connection with. They're your friends, they're your peers, and it's positive peer pressure. You want to also be able to report that you're doing really well. And so that's just a snapshot, just some of the reasons why that weekly live interpersonal community is so important. I've just recently joined a business mastermind, which I'm so excited about. I'll just shout out to Jamie Bright. It's such a great thing. And so the same thing happens as an entrepreneur. Like, I work for myself from my home. I don't have other entrepreneur friends that live where I live that I hang out with on a daily basis. So this mastermind is a way, the same thing I'm talking about with this weekly support. It's, oh my gosh, I get to hang out with other successful entrepreneurs. We brainstorm, troubleshoot, we get motivation from each other. And then we have that accountability, right? For me, it's like, oh, I told these people I was going to take these actions, and now I want to show them that I'm an action taker, that I'm going to follow through. And it's really motivating. And so I have that for so think about this in your life, any area that you're struggling or feeling kind of lonely and why am I not getting further on this? Why is it hard for me to take these actions? And I'm not saying that's where I was in my business, but examine your life. Where is it that you're falling short of the things that you know you need to do, but you just feel kind of like you're the only person doing it, nobody else gets it. Okay, so this is where that weekly support, that group support, the community of people that are doing the things that you want to do are so important, right? So it's one of the reasons why CrossFit is so popular, so successful, people stick with it for so long, is that you're part of a group of community and you belong and you don't want to leave that. It's so wonderful and supportive when you find that right kind of group. All right. So, all right. So let me just recap. Your body wants to regain the weight. It does. And it does so in subtle ways that you don't even notice. So even when you find something you can stick with long term, your brain starts to trick you. It starts to get you to eat just a little bit more. It slows your metabolism a little bit. And you couple that with the environment that we live in that is designed to make us regain weight. Well, guess what? The diet didn't fail you. You didn't have the right things in place in order to get it to work. So maybe I should add number 4 in there. Okay, so I kind of did that. So here I'm going to just reassign a number to my numbers. Okay, so first I have 3 things that you need for. Let's do it this way. The 3 things you need in order to succeed long term with weight loss, and then 1 bonus one. Okay, so the 3 things are frequent measures of success, having multiple measures of success that show you early on that you need to make some changes to get back on track. Ongoing education. You need to learn new skills and techniques to not fall back into your old habits. You need a weekly support, ongoing. Oh, here's the thing that I need to add to that. I put a note and I just remembered to say this, is that so research shows that you get that weekly support for a year or more, right? Again, so all the diet lies have told us that, no, you just do a short period of time. You don't need long-term support. So research shows that people who are successful long-term, guess what? They have long-term support. So I look at this as like, as long as you want to keep the weight off, that's how long you need the support, right? How many times have you done it in the past where it's like, nope, just short term, I don't need it. I promise you, this is one of the keys to long-term sustainability. I've got my most successful clients have been with me, some of them almost over 4 years now. And they are consistent and they get all of these things. And I'll tell you, they're peaceful and happy, and they're so glad that they're maintaining this, and they're not fighting with themselves looking for another diet to get the weight off again next year. So lean into that fact that this is, if you want long-term results, you have to have long-term success, support. And okay, so then the 4th one, I said I was changing it now to 3 plus 1 bonus one. The 4th one is finding a way of eating that you can stick with the rest of your life, and embracing the fact that long-term results also take a long-term change. We can't do something temporarily and expect it to be permanent results, right? You don't, with your roof on your house, it needs to be rebuilt every so many years. I don't know. Is it every decade? You need maintenance. You need maintenance on it. And the birds all flying together again to the tree. It's very cool. And all right, so embrace the fact that it takes long-term change. And so think about that. What is it that you can see yourself sticking with for long term if you have the right support? All right. So next week's episode, the next show coming up, I've got the top ketosis killers. And these are not what you think. I mean, obviously too many carbs and sugar, but I'm going to give you the ones that you don't even know could be sabotaging your results. And so thank you for tuning into this episode, Yo-Yo Dieting, Why It Happens, Why It's Not Your Fault, and How to Overcome It. The 3 things and 1 bonus thing that you need to stop regaining the weight. So if you like what you heard today and you'd like to get some more personalized support for your keto diet, for your health, I invite you to check out my website, ketocarole.com. Let me put that on the screen here. Carole has an E on the end. It's the very fancy French spelling. So ketocarole.com if you're just listening to us. And I go much deeper with my clients, and I do have a limited space as to how many clients I can work with at one time because I do work so closely with them. Therefore, I work only with people by application only. And the program I have, the approach I have is very comprehensive. It's personally tailored and includes a complete keto training program, easy meal plans, live coaching calls, so that weekly support. Again, all those things I told you need. Email support, metabolic health lab monitoring, peer support coach. We surround you with loving support and cheerleaders and lots of the group support, mirror activation, mirror neuron. and so much more. It truly is the most comprehensive keto coaching for sustainable weight loss that is available. Absolutely. And so if you're ready to stop messing around and you're ready for the next chapter of your life where you are the best version of yourself, I invite you to apply to work with me. So visit my website, read what I've got there, see if that resonates with you. And so see if we're a match, and go ahead and fill out that application. I appreciate you being here so much, and share this with a friend if you got some value out of this. Remember, help us grow the show, and we'll help you shrink. Until next time, everyone, see you soon. Bye now.